back. I'm back. I'm back. Finally figured out this streaming setup. I figured it out, but I had to get some stuff before I actually was able to get, you know, in the swing of things. Let me see if I can make this louder. Testing. Can I? Testing. Okay. I think we a little bit louder now. Anyway. Whew. So we back. I'm just gonna get on here and talk about some updates on the music business side because I think doing it live is a lot easier for me. But yeah, so with that being said, matter of fact, let me tell people I'm live. I hope everyone is having a great year so far. Let's see here. Okay. Studio mode. Now all right. So, one of the first things I wanted to talk about today is this. All right, so let's start with this story here, right? Music streaming platforms now host 250 million tracks. Where does it end? Music Business Worldwide reported this. I think it was yesterday. It says that there's 253 million tracks sitting on audio streaming services at the close of 2025. 250 million. It says that number was up by 37 million on an average of 106 uploads per day. Almost half of the 253 million files hosted on audio platforms received fewer than 10 streams last year. That's crazy. Almost 3/4 of it, 73%, received fewer than 100 annual streams, and nearly 9/10 of the 88% received fewer than 1,000 annual streams. That is crazy. Basically, 88% of all streams that occur on streaming services receive less than 1,000 streams. That is crazy. Yeah, it could be a lot of different music it could be a lot of tracks that's uploaded per day on streaming services, but it's like at the end of the day, people only can listen to a finite amount of music, so it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like there's only gonna be, just like how the report says, 12%. So that means 12% of. Okay, most of the music was from popular. Okay, so yeah, so 12% of the music of songs on a platform don't actually do more than 1,000 streams per year. That is crazy. Oh, okay, so let me see if y'all can see this. Can y'all see this? Wait. I couldn't see what I was looking at, so let me fix that real quick. Man, how do I do this? Y'all gonna have to forgive me. We're still figuring things out here. Let's see. How do we do this? Yeah, I had this in the background. One second, let's see. There we go. There we go. Finally. All right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, look at this. So 2025 global audio track streaming pyramid. While 86% of the net ISRC growth this year, which is up 37 million versus 2024, is concentrated on tracks with less than 100 audio streams. 1.9 million more tracks reached 1,000 streams in 2025 compared to 2024. In addition, an additional 6.8 thousand tracks reached 10 million, at least 10 million streams. 1,000 more reached 50 million in 2025, though they were two less to reach 1 billion. 88%, approximately 1 in 10, had 1K streams or less. Wow, this is interesting. 1,000 to 100,000 year-to-date streams. 100 to 1K. So if you're an artist and you have songs and all of your songs do at least more than 1,000 streams per year, you're in this top percentile. You're in this top percentile here. If you have tracks that actually have more than 1,000 streams per year, it really kind of puts it to a perspective. A lot of people think that, oh, like, you know, I'm all the way on the bottom of the totem pole, but there's so many artists that don't do as much numbers as certain people that probably complain about not having people or having success within the streaming era. So it's really, it puts a lot of stuff into perspective when you look at stuff like this. Let's see. This is funny. This is, whew. Yeah, seeing these numbers is pretty crazy. But so the article goes on where the growth is really coming from. One of the most striking revelations in the Luminate's new data is the dramatic shift in who's uploading music. Tracks distributed by major companies, Universal, Sony, Warner, and their affiliate indie distribution arms accounted for just 3.8% of ISRC deliveries and DSPs in 2025. That's a surprisingly small market share, was less than half the size of the equivalent of the major market share figure in 2024. That's 8%. So conversely, independent and DIY distribution represented a staggering 96% of daily uploads last year, a figure that some industry increasingly linked to the explosion of AI-generated content and automated upload systems. That's for sure, 100%. While 88% of the tracks received 1,000 or fewer plays in 2025, Luminate's data shows these tracks contribute to almost nothing to the actual streaming consumption, as illustrated in the chart below. And it's just this chart here. So in 2025, only 29 tracks reached 1 billion streams. 500,000 streams to 1 billion streams, 192 tracks. 100 million streams to 500 million streams, 4.9 thousand tracks. 50 million to 100 million streams, that's 7,000 tracks. 10 million to 50 million, that's 58,000 tracks. 1.8 million, 1 million to 10 million streams, 400,000 tracks they were able to make that. So basically, most people, as far as consumption wise, at least make, as far as more, I won't say most people, most artists or most of the top tier artists have streams that do 1 million to 10 million streams per year, or at least have one track or whatever the case may be. 500,000 to 1 million streams, 300,000. 100,000 to 500,000 streams. 1.9 million ISRCs did that. So that is crazy. 1.3 trillion streams. Wow. This is a crazy. These are some crazy charts. Amid the deluge of low engagement content, Luminate's data does reveal some encouraging signs. An additional 1.9 million tracks received 1,000 plus streams threshold in 2025 than compared to 2024. At the higher tiers, 6,800 additional tracks reached at least 10 million streams, and 1,000 more tracks hit 50 million streams. That's crazy. All right, moving on. So I want to talk about Bandcamp and AI generated music, and then I'm going to talk about the Untitled update. And you know what? I think it would probably be best. Let me see if I can. 1 second. Let's see. It won't matter, right? Let's see if I can. I could swear. I reshared it.
is that we're going to see more artists release music in more unique ways outside the traditional conventional streaming platforms we're all used to. Because one, to connect more directly with their communities, and two, of course, to maximize profit. And just in time, Untitled just launched this new pay gated projects feature that allows artists that have their music on Untitled to put any of their music or projects behind a paywall. Now, if you're one of those people that's unfamiliar with Untitled, it's an app that artists use to store, organize, and share their unreleased music. And while the app already works so great, I feel like this particular feature is going to be such a game changer because artists can actually make a substantial amount of money pushing their music directly to their fan base. And the great thing is that it doesn't even have to be a super polished project too. I see artists just selling a pack of Lucy's to their fans who care to actually support and purchase their music. I see producers selling sample packs on here. Artists could even choose to do an early release of their upcoming album. Like, the possibilities are endless. And all it takes is just sharing that link to your project directly with your fans. Of course, the artist will only pay the Stripe processing fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents. And of course, Untitled will charge the fan a 5% platform fee. Honestly, I believe artists should be able to earn a substantial amount putting out their music directly to their fans. And there's fans like me that just really just want to support an artist. So this is going to be such an interesting feature. Excited to see how it rolls out and changes things over the coming months.
All right. So Untitled is great. Untitled, let's start there. Entitled, I love Entitled, Untitled. I haven't personally used it for any of our releases or anything like that, but one second. Let's put this on. Man, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so me personally, I love the idea of Untitled doing this, but I want everybody to how should I say, come to reality on this, because artists have had the opportunity to do stuff like this for a long time. Bandcamp, obviously, and then you have artist websites. Like me personally, like for our releases, we have releases that actually can be bought on our partner's merchandise website, which is Blue Vessel. So if you wanted to buy tracks directly from us, you could do that. If an artist could literally, like, there's a bunch of artists that I know that actually started websites to sell directly to fans. So, although this is a great step, a lot of people kind of are making it seem like, okay, this is gonna put a dent in streaming, or this is gonna do this. It's really if we keeping it a buck, it's because Untitled is a great app. It has a great UI, and it's including a feature that is available elsewhere, but it's right in front of people because they use the Untitled app the way they do. And the reason why people are kind of overlooking, because Bandcamp been doing it, is because I saw a tweet, and I'm not saying this personally, but I saw a tweet, somebody said, Untitled, it has great UI, it's clean, Bandcamp is ugly. It's like, me personally, I never really got on, as far as our label, we never really got on the Bandcamp bandwagon. I love Bandcamp, but I've always sold direct to consumer, but outside of using a platform like Bandcamp. I love Bandcamp and I love what they do. It's just me personally, it's just not really something that we've used as far as utilized. I think I'm not even sure how many records we have on Bandcamp, but it's like, but yeah, but anyway, but it's, of course, based off of the video, it's a great app. This is a great thing for artists to sell direct to fan. because Untitled looks like a stream. It has like the feeling of a streaming platform. So that's kind of what helps Bandcamp in this particular situation. So yeah, shouts out to Untitled. Like I love the situation. I'm not hating at all. I might use it, but again, I think people just gotta get real with it being some kind of like game changing thing that's gonna stop streaming and people gonna switch over from this and stop using Spot. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. People are gonna use this. And what's crazy is so Untitled. Let's look at what kind of who owns Untitled, because Untitled app. Okay, so they got some big investors. So Untitled co-founders Dan Luenthal and Jose Chiat, and the rise of the DIY artists and how their platform will kickstart a music renaissance. Again, shouts to Untitled and the people there, because they've really done a great app and a lot of people use it, and a lot of people have been using it to share projects and things of that nature. So it's amazing. And they have investment by a bunch of different private equity companies. So of course they're gonna, obviously, they're doing great now, and I think their plan is to get as many users as possible, and then figure out a way to, because I think they charge 5% for sales that happen on the app outside of the Stripe fee that the user pays. So there's a 5%. So they're getting 5% off of all sales, which I think is great, because they're going to be able to do that. But what's going to happen is that hopefully they stay where they are, as far as like, like we're not charging, they're keeping costs low right now. But what could happen eventually is, especially since they're connected to private equity, they could have more situations where somebody might say, well, okay, now it's time for us to cash out. So let's up the price on this, or whatever the case may be. It's bound to happen eventually, but hopefully they keep this kind of mindset. I don't know exactly if it's going to be able to sustain. I'm not sure if they're, breaking even, or they're actually making a profit yet, but that's going to all determine on what the future of this company is. But I'm rooting for Untitled. I'm rooting for them and what they plan on doing as far as adding more tools for DIY artists and artists that might just want to actually sell stuff on the website. So I gotta look more into them and so forth. Oh, let's see. But yeah, that's my take on the Bandcamp thing. And Bandcamp bans AI generated music. We want musicians to keep making music. Direct-to-fan platform Bandcamp said it would ban artificial generated music and audio from its platforms, including any use of AI tools or impersonate artists or styles. I am interested to see how they're going to enforce this, but it's obviously a great thing for artists for them to say this. But like overall, I think there's going to be a lot of songs that's going to fly under the radar, and until one gets popular or whatever the case may be. And Spotify removed a bunch of tracks, so it's like there's a lot of companies that's pushing back against AI and people that are like flooding the market with a bunch of different songs that are AI and so forth. So, but yeah, moving along, what else is popping here? Oh, in a landmark termination rights ruling, appeals court says songwriters can reclaim global rights under this law. So there was a recent court case that had something to do with, you know, a company pretty much getting their rights back from a publisher. So, and basically it's kind of, the case is centered around the termination rights. It's basically a provision in copyright law that lets songwriters claim songs they sold off years earlier. So after a certain period of time, they could say, okay, like, I'm filing a termination of rights to have my songs reverted back to me. It used to be where the thought was, when you did that, it was basically U.S. termination rights applied only within the U.S. But now it's saying that with this ruling, if it stands, that means that when songwriters do this moving forward, it's going to be rights for like global rights. So that means that if someone was going to retain, or basically someone was going to basically take back the copyright from a publisher and get it back just in the US, the publisher would still control the global rights or the worldwide rights outside of the US. But now, with this ruling, that means that songwriters are going to be able to get the termination rights back, where they'll be able to get it back globally. So this is a big deal. You can read more about it on Billboard and Music Business Worldwide. BTS is back. TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, this week starts with the new algorithm. Y'all let me know if y'all see any differences. Let me see if there's any other big news here. And I'm using a very low. Okay. Let's see, cutting edge, music catalog, composer. And after I'm done here, I'm gonna head over to Twitch to listen to some music. So we're gonna listen to some music on Twitch. But and the Twitch profile is gonna be Valholla Now radio. It's Valholla Now on Twitch, but you'll definitely be able to find it. So just to talk about this Salt and Pepper lawsuit, it's a lot of stuff that we don't know. The general public doesn't know about this Salt and Pepper lawsuit. But since it's been dismissed, basically it got dismissed because they should have been trying to get the rights back from the production company that they signed to, because when the production company did the deal with the label, which was, if I'm not mistaken, Next Plateau, what ended up happening was that the production company, which was run by Herbie Lovebug, he's Haitian, by the way, but basically they signed Salt and Pepper, but the production company is signed to the label, so they can't get the rights from the label because their rights were within the deal that they did with the production company. So it's a weird case, but hopefully they get that solved. It looks like UMG wants to solve things on that end. Ethiopia, president of music at Hive America, huge deal. If you remember, she was running Motown and she's been with UMG. She was with UMG before for a long time, and then she exited from Motown, or running Motown, and then now she is with Hive. I love what Hive is doing, to be honest with you. I love what Hive is doing. Troy Carter acquires catalog of influential pop art records. That's dope. But yeah, this was just a little test. I wanted to do a test stream just to see, what I'm saying, like what's good, and see how we could play things as far as in the future, because I'm going to be doing more live streams, more stuff within it. And let's see. So yeah, and I'm going to head over to Twitch. So I hope you guys at least enjoyed some of my my takes in the meantime. But again, we'll definitely be back. I want to be back live more often. I'm looking forward to doing it again. So y'all catch me up on Twitch. And again, where I'm going to be on the Valholla Now channel. And y'all check me out. Peace.